iZombie Season 4, Episode 7, Don't Hate the Player, Hate the Brain. So this episode, I would say, was kind of chock full of random little surprises. Liv finds out that, of course, Blaine's dad is the one who's been leading the whole zombie thing, the zombie church. Clive finds out that Dale actually never slept with anybody, so now that relationship is going to be super weird for them. It's not exactly like a big reveal or anything, but the scene with Major where it was him and Peyton in the room where they were talking about like, oh, you guys shot up the newspaper or whatever, the media place. That was just a good scene, and it was like he couldn't even look her in the face, or it's just like he knows he's kind of on the wrong side of this, which I was like, that's it's getting deeper and deeper. And then of course the end of the episode, we have Peyton finding out that Liv is actually making fake zombie IDs. So a lot of revelations for characters in this episode, and I definitely enjoyed it. One thing that I thought was cool is super minor, but they brought back the actress who played the reporter. I think it was last season, may have been the season before last, but they brought her back. Like she was in the episode. It was like for a tiny little thing, but I was like, well, that's cool. That's cool. They were able to kind of get her in there for that because I was like, I know I recognize, and I couldn't think of it. Like during the episode, I forgot that she was in another episode. Because it was legitimately like she was in that one episode, and maybe she showed up a little bit after that because they were super mad at her. But it was like that was it, and then they still brought her back and everything, and I was like, that's super cool. Like that's one of those moments I was talking about before, where it's like we don't see characters, and it's like they are like we didn't see Dell a lot. It was like that, where it's like they're trapped within the city, like they're in the same spot. So the fact that they were able to get a woman who was like in one episode last season, they were able to kind of just get her back. I thought that was super cool, but definitely a fun episode. I don't know where the heck things are headed. Like everything that Liv is doing, her wearing the giant hat and getting the fake or getting the scanner to make the fake IDs, definitely interesting. I was like, okay, so she's got that. Clive even says like, do I want to know what you're doing? And she's like, it's probably best that you don't. So he's already close to it to begin with, and then Peyton just busts her at the end. So I don't know where in the world that's headed, and it's just like, what side of the fence does Peyton land on? Because of course she wants to protect the citizens, but ultimately she wants to kind of keep the rules for both zombies and humans. So it's like I don't know where in the world she's gonna land on this, but it probably won't be too good. At least in the beginning, it might work out later on, but in the beginning it might be a bit tough for them. So I'm curious how that'll play out. Of course you can't tell Major, but there's going to be some issues there. So I'm looking forward to how that's going to play out. Her knowing about Blaine's dad should be interesting, and just however that's supposed to work. But there's a lot of stuff that they kind of touched on in this episode and introduced, of course, by the end with Liv getting busted. So I'm really excited for that. What they did with Liv finding out about Blaine's dad, being the one leading the church and everything like that, which I thought she knew who he was. I thought she would find out like as soon as she saw him. I forgot they never actually interacted with each other, so that was kind of interesting because I felt like he knew everybody for some reason. I don't know. I guess he was just like that big personality character. I thought, excuse me, with all the bodies moving around left and right in the last season, I thought everybody knew who Blaine's dad was. So I was kind of surprised that she didn't know until this episode. I forgot, but definitely enjoyed that. Like I said, I can't wait to see where things go with how everything's gonna play out between Peyton and Liv. I don't know what they're gonna do with the Clive storyline with him and Dale, which I thought was very interesting. Where she was upset with him, and it's like, I guess we're really doing this thing, and he's like, crap, I thought you'd been with people, and I'm basically like I was kind of freaking out, doing this, and he goes to an actual hooker. So it was very surprising. It's not really in his character to do that. So it'll be interesting to see how that moment really changes him and how that changes their relationship. And she seemed mad at him, which I thought was like, that's not really fair to be mad at this guy when it's like clearly he's not the one who wanted to do the open relationship thing. So I thought it was kind of funny when she was like, oh, I guess we're really doing this. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I felt like that was a little bit pushing it, where it's like she's the one who wanted it, but it's all messed up now. And it's just like he was just like frozen in place, like, oh crap, I didn't really want to do this anyway. And it's just bad. So I don't know how the heck that's gonna play out. I mean, unless they kill her off, it's not like she can leave. So it's gonna be real tough for those two characters. But I'm definitely looking forward to the next episode. I like the main case for this as well. Like it was definitely funny to start, and the way it goes through the whole process, and us finding out that the woman at the end was turned into a zombie. And she didn't know that, and they kind of basically said like, oh, she's a bug chaser and stuff like that. And it's like, no, they like destroyed my life. And I was like, wow, that sucks. This is one of those things where she's like, it doesn't matter how long they freeze me because my life ended the moment, I slept with that guy because it turned me into a zombie. So it's just like, that sucks. That was just like depressing. It was like one of those weird endings where it's like, oh, I feel worse for her than I do, the guy, because it's like, this person's a zombie. It's like an STD. So it's just interesting with kind of the way they solve the problem at the end, and we find out that she switched names and all that stuff. And it was just like, man, that's like, I feel, like I said, I feel worse for her than I do about the two guys. Crazy way to die though, poison dick. Definitely a good episode though, and Liv being on like the player brain and everything hits on the one guy, so they'll eventually end up together. Maybe he'll live, maybe he won't. That kind of just, maybe they just break up. Who knows how that'll play out. But we'll see. We'll see where that ends up going. But definitely a fun episode, of course. Would love to know what you guys thought about it. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, least favorite parts about it. And I would love to know your predictions on how things are going to play out between Liv and Peyton. Who is Peyton going to tell? Because I would assume she'd go straight to Ravi. Like, did you know that this was a thing? So would love to know your predictions on how all that stuff is going to play out. And like I said, just want to know what you guys thought about this episode in general. So please comment below. Let me know. And thanks for watching.